Welcome to our show here tonight. Welcome to We'll Sing and We'll Shout with your host, Steve Hansen, on a Saturday night. When I get wrapped up here, I'm going to head over to the Provo Rec Center. It's 8 o'clock here in Provo, so that'll be some weightlifting before I take it easy and relax. I would head out to the stadium, but the amount of energy required for me to run around that track and run up and down that stadium is just not something that I'm feeling here tonight. So the rec center is a nice kind of middle of the road option for me that we're going to do. So today the family and I actually went over to Linden, Utah, which is really just up the street from me here. We went over to Linden and visited the brand new Linden Temple. They have an open house going on there, and we went through that open house and had a really nice visit through there. Amazing new building, not a huge temple by any means, but certainly a decent size, and we'll look forward to attending there in the future. I learned some things about Linden, Utah today that I did not know before, and that is that it is actually named after the linden tree. There's a linden tree that is spelled Linden, but and that particular tree has a certain flower and certain coloring, and that flower and that coloring is on display throughout the stained glass in that temple. And one of the neat things that they sort of did, one of the guides outside was kind of explaining this to us a little bit, but down on the lower levels of the temple, the blossoms are pretty closed up. And then as you go up in the temple further to once you actually get up to the top floor or top floors of the temple, the blossoms are fully open. And that is to maybe express the idea of the growth that you experience as you head towards the upper floors of the temple and what goes on in the temple that represents your eternal progression, you might say. So kind of some neat things. The story behind the misspelling is that whoever submitted the application for the city misspelled it as Lindon instead of Den. It was misspelled Don, and that's how it went into the original records, and that's how it is spelled today. But the history is that originally Linden, Utah was called Stringtown because of the way the houses were strung up and down the street between the towns of Orem and Pleasant Grove. So it started out as Stringtown, and then there was apparently just one linden tree, an old linden tree, growing in town in 1901. And so they decided to call it Linden instead of Stringtown. They thought that sounded better. It's just they didn't know how to spell, so it ended up Lindon. So just a little history on Linden, Utah that I didn't know. Linden, Utah is less than 12,000 people. So there's an awful lot of people living both above and below it, but it's only 12,000 people, just 11,400 really. So, well, that was as of 2020. So it's probably up around 12 now, probably over 12. But what an amazing thing it would be for every town that has 12,000 people to have a beautiful temple like that. That should be the goal. That probably is the goal. So that's Linden, Utah, and that was our visit this afternoon to the Linden Temple. It was 8 months ago today, on a Monday evening, that I sat down and watched my friend Daryl McDaniels talk about his health transformation, talk about his weight loss of about 35 to 40 pounds. But far more important for his health issues was his dramatic reduction in his diabetes scores that to this day, I still don't understand exactly what an A1C is. And I still don't understand blood sugar scoring. I've never dealt with diabetes, and so I don't know what those numbers mean. I just know that his improved to the point where he could get off all his medications, and he went from a very bad place to a really thankful and good place. And as I listened to his story, and I listened to him talk about intermittent fasting and the ability to do it really consistently and to do it really relatively easily, certainly reasonable. And I knew that I was struggling with wanting to do that because I knew it worked. I knew how powerful intermittent fasting work was, but I didn't know how to do it consistently, and I didn't know how to do it enough to get the results on a long and ongoing on a long-term and ongoing basis that I really wanted. So I listened to Daryl that night and I thought, you know what? Why don't I try that? I mean, what have I got to lose other than weight, other than misery of being 220 pounds, falling into the obese category, which nearly 50% or some high percentage of American adults do. What do I've got to lose other than changing my life? Now, I wasn't necessarily thinking all those intricate thoughts there, but I was thinking, why not try something that worked for my friend Daryl? And so I decided to do that. I decided to try what Daryl was doing, and I started it about 2 days later. I started it 2 days later, and I started it about 40 hours later. And amazingly enough, it started working for me. That very first day, I tried it, and when I got up that next morning, I felt like, you know what, this fasting is going really well. Like this feels really reasonable. This is interesting. This is an interesting effect. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to take these products again. I'm going to use this balance product, this fiber matrix, before I eat my dinner. That's all I'm going to do there. And then in the morning, I'm going to drink one of these unamates, and maybe I'll drink a second one, but I'm going to drink this in the morning. I'm going to have this before dinner. I'm going to do that a second night, and I'm going to see what the impact was. All natural, nutraceuticals, nothing but natural food in here. I'm going to try that again and see how it goes. And I'll be darned if that second day didn't go as well or even better than the first day. And I fasted another like 19 hours, 19 or 20 hours or something. I'd have, I'd have to pull up the chart. Uh, Let me go look. Let's just answer that question since you're all very excited to know the precise details. So here I have the chart in front of me. Um, okay, that the the 23rd, the very first day I did this, I fasted 16 and a half hours. The second day I did this, I fasted 18 and a half hours. So that second day, it was like, okay, pretty good experience. Let's try this again. That third day, I fasted 22 hours. So I went from 16 and a half to 18 and a half to 22. Historically, when I was doing intermittent fasting, I was fasting 14, 15 hours. That was kind of like what I could do on a consistent basis when I could even be consistent. And usually I couldn't be. I could do it 3 or 4 days a week or something, and then I'd kind of fall apart. Then I'd get back on track, and then I'd kind of fall apart. If I was really committed, over a period of a couple months, maybe I could lose 20 pounds. But when the commitment started to stray or go away, the weight would kind of come back on. But so 3 days in a row, up to 22 hours. And after that third day, I said, you know what? This is really amazing. This is an amazing experience I'm having here. This is gonna change my life. Like this is gonna transform my life. And I was feeling that on day 3. I was like, wow, this is really good. Day 4 was 22 hours. Day 5 was 20.75 hours. Day 6, 20 hours. Day 7, only 16 hours. But then it bounced back with 24 hours on the 30th, 19 hours on the 31st. I can keep going here, but I can tell you my average fast then during the month of August was 18 and a quarter hours. I lost 10 pounds in the first 13 days, and I was down 20 pounds. Essentially, let's see, I was down 20 pounds in what I'm going to call about 40 days. And I was down to 190 a month later. So now we're 70 days. And then I was down 40 pounds by about 100 days. So I had this amazing experience of losing 40 pounds in about 100 days. And I wasn't dieting. I was making pretty much the same eating choices that I had always made. I wasn't dieting. I wasn't exercising like some kind of a fruitcake, which is things I've done at times in my life. I was just getting my normal exercise, going to the rec center, lifting some weights, going for walks, same stuff. What changed? What changed the game for me? Why was this experience so powerful and so meaningful for me? And you know what's interesting is that I was experiencing this, but I didn't even understand what I was experiencing. I didn't understand the science behind it until these good people started to teach me about, and it started with reading this book here by this Dr. Jason Fung. Jason is out of Toronto, and I'd like to tell you exactly the type of doctor he is, but he deals with metabolism. And I think he also deals with skin conditions, and that's what led him to dive deeper into metabolism and metabolic issues. But what I learned and what he learned in dealing with conditions that were brought to him, what he learned over time was that weight loss was not a calories in, calories out game, as we had always been taught. Weight loss was not all about diet and exercise. Those are all good things to consider. But we're not just going to throw those aside. But weight loss was all about hormones. Weight loss was all about controlling, understanding how your hormones work, and making some good decisions to control them. And you could lose weight. And I have spent my entire freaking life playing this calories in, calories out game, playing the diet and exercise game. And I'd had, a reasonable amount of success with this, but when I would have success, it was a lot of work. Like I would have to really buckle down on the diet, and I would have to really exercise on a routine and in a stringent way, in a rigorous way, to really get the kind of results that I wanted. And as I got older, that became harder and harder to do, to play that game. And what I learned that changed the game for me was that we have a lot of hormones in our system, but one of the big ones, the two big ones that affect weight loss and weight gain, are called insulin and GLP-1. And when we eat all the time, when we eat regularly, when we get up in the morning and have sugar and carbohydrates in the form of uh, even fresh fruit and oatmeal is sugar and carbohydrates, and we spike our insulin, and then we spike our insulin with a mid-morning snack, and then we spike our insulin with lunch, and then maybe we spike at some point in the afternoon, and we spike it with dinner. And for me, you could put a couple more curves on here. You could put a couple more bumps in this curve, because I probably have a little snack at some point after dinner, and then before I go to bed, I was probably having another one. I was probably eating on an average day 4 to 6 times, maybe some days less, maybe some days more, but that was probably my average. I was eating, 4, 6 times a day or whatever. I was spiking that insulin. Insulin with me was hardly ever getting a chance to rest, because the moment that I started to have crazy cravings, I would take care of those cravings. I'd have, snacks in the truck when I was out on a job site, whatever. I was eating constantly throughout the day, but I was starting out with healthy foods, fruit and oatmeal. Maybe this was a healthy snack. Maybe there was an energy bar in here or something. It wasn't like I was just eating junk food, but I was eating consistently throughout the day. And what that was doing is that when insulin is high in your system, you are storing fat. And I could talk deeper about this, but I'm not going to do that right now. But when insulin is high, consistently high, you are storing fat. If you can learn to flip the game and keep insulin low by only eating, say, maybe twice a day, if you limit yourself to just a couple insulin spikes and you learn how to keep those spikes low, then it gives your GLP-1 a chance to operate and allows you to feel satisfied. Your GLP-1 sends out the signal that, hey, I'm not hungry. I'm actually okay. I've got lots of energy in here. I don't need to eat again. If you can learn the science of keeping your insulin low by keeping your GLP-1 high, then you can be in fat burning zone and give your body a chance to heal, because when insulin is high, you're up here in damage zone. If you could just learn this science, you can do amazing things with just this alone. The challenge is that when we have gotten really unhealthy, or if we want to lead a somewhat normal life and eat normal foods, then like cheeseburgers and other things, nachos, other things, ice cream, things that I like to eat, then some help like these two nutraceuticals can just totally change the game. They can be game changers for you the same way they were game changers for me. These two simple nutraceuticals mixed with this knowledge transform my life. And I sit here, I get up every morning and I feel great. I feel great every morning. Now, I'm still working to lose another 20 pounds, like I am, at least another 20, maybe 25. I want to get down in the low 150s or even to 150, which at 5'9" puts me right in the middle of the BMI chart. Some people say, "Oh, that's bogus. You know, you don't need to be that light." Well, that's fine. That's fine if you feel that way, but I don't feel that way. I know what it feels like to weigh 150 pounds, and even though I'm going to turn 60 in September, I'm still a firm believer in what a blessing it is to be lighter, and that's my intention to get there. So, and I will be using this science and these products to do that. This is my win here. This is my mode of operation. But I was experiencing this before I even understood it. I just simply did what these people said to do. You know, take this product in the morning, fast 16, 18, 20 hours a day, whatever you feel comfortable doing. Use this fiber matrix before your big meal. Consider using it before both meals, but certainly use it before your big meal. Use this in the morning. This product will help you raise your natural GLP-1, and you can do this fasting, and you can live in this fat burning zone, and you can reach your goals without exercising like a fruitcake or trying to be on some super stringent diet plan. Like, I eat the foods that I want to eat. I have a cheeseburger. I don't have cheeseburgers every day, but I have cheeseburgers. I eat normal food. Sometimes I'll even drink a pop. Sometimes I'll drink half a pop and stick the other half in the fridge for tomorrow. Sometimes I'll drink half a pop and give the other half to Kenny. But I eat normal foods. I get normal amounts of exercise, and I'm as healthy as I've ever been. My gut health has been amazing these last 8 months. I get up and I feel good, and there's just not a whole lot that comes at me, even though I have a lot. I have a lot coming at me right now in a lot of different ways, especially as the construction season ramps up. But when you feel good, when you can get up in the morning feeling good, even feeling great, you can deal with a lot of things. And that's where I am. And that's why I feel so grateful here 8 months later that I ran into this. And it has become not only the game changer for me and the tool that transformed my life, but it has set me on a mission to help others understand this science and give them access to these products and be on a mission to transform lives, to reverse disease and obesity, and to literally save lives. Like, there are people out there suffering. I was suffering 8 months ago, but I wasn't suffering anywhere near as much as so many people are. There are people out there suffering and dying, and families watching family members deteriorate and die because they don't understand these simple principles. These principles here can transform the world, and I'm out on a mission to share them and to share these products that can take sick people and make them well and heal them, literally heal people's lives and let them enjoy their life and live longer lives by following simple principles that are taught in this book and researched and available in a number of sources at a number of universities. Why is this information not more readily out there? Well, I would suggest that it's likely because big pharma has not figured out how to make money by telling you to fast. Nobody makes a lot of money when you don't buy food or other medications. And if big pharma and other companies are not making money, then they're probably not telling you about it. So they want you to keep doing what you're doing because they want to keep making money. You don't make a lot of money selling simple nutraceuticals. You make a little bit of money, but you don't make a lot. So if you want to make a lot of money, you don't share this kind of information. You'd say, go keep doing what you're doing, take some of our medication, make sure you eat a lot of food, and good luck with life. That's the message that is out there in our healthcare system, and that's what needs to change. So we have just hit 20 minutes here. I'm anxious to get to the rec center and burn off some of this excess energy. Tomorrow night will be family history night. It'll be our third night of looking into the Nis Thomas Hansen family. We'll talk about the three youngest daughters. The three youngest daughters, one of whom I do believe that I met when I was young, and that was Aunt Jenny. Uh, Aunt Jenny was died in 1979 or 77. So she was around. I think she even came out to the farm one time, but vague memories of her. I think Cheryl might remember her better than I do. So we'll be talking about them tomorrow night, and then eventually we're going to step back another generation and talk about Nis Thomas Hansen's uh, parents and his siblings that all came over and settled in the area around in and around the area of Port Clinton. We'll talk about some of the things that they were involved in. So that's kind of a preview of what's coming up. Thank you for tuning in. I always appreciate those who watch my lives and watch my replays. I really appreciate comments. I appreciate likes. I appreciate any kind of feedback. And we will catch up with you tomorrow night at our regular time of 8 p.m. Mountain Time. Take care.